I'm Ryan Milliken from Hardway Performance, and you're listening to the Diesel Podcast.
I'm Dimitri Miller with No Zone Diesel.
This is Anthony Reams from XDP.
This is Jaron Holder from Holderdown Performance.
Corey Willis from PPEI.
I'm Drew with D&J Precision Machine.
I'm Pinky.
And you're listening to the Diesel Podcast.
Diesel Podcast.
You're listening to the Diesel Podcast.
The Diesel Podcast. The one and only Diesel Podcast.
What is going on, Diesel Nation? You guys are really keeping us busy with recommendations for shows on iTunes, and ratings and comments, things you guys are giving us. Keep doing it. They're helping us tremendously, getting us in contact with the people that you want to hear from and the builds that you want to hear about. And it doesn't always have to be a crazy, insane 2,000 plus horsepower build. It might be about towing or about a street truck. We want to hear about everything. So make sure you guys keep doing that. Before we get to this episode, we want to thank Diesel World. Diesel World, they cover everything if it pertains to diesel, whether it's events, races, builds, features, pretty much anything out there. Make sure and check them out at dieselworldmag.com. You can also listen to the Diesel Podcast on there as well. At the top of the page, just click Diesel Podcast. You can hear every episode we've done over the last 2.5 years. Also, we want to give a shout out to PPEI. Those guys are doing so much for tuning. There's tons of new updates, tuning options for anything, whether you've got a Duramax, Cummins, Power Stroke, they do it all. Head on over to PPEI.com. All right, guys, we're going to talk about a Fummins build, and we're just going to jump right in. Travis, I'm pumped up to talk about this Fummins that you got. I want you to walk us through this really cool build that you have. It's excellent. This build has me really pumped up because Fummins conversions are popular. And just in chatting with you, all the things you've done. But let's start right at the beginning. What year and make truck you got?
Well, essentially it's a 2005 F-250, two-door long bed. It started out as a two-wheel drive, just pretty much an XL work truck. I bought it cheap with a 6-liter in it, sold off all the 6-liter stuff, sold the 5R100, and pretty much decided to go the common rail route,
It's a popular swap. Did you, as far as getting the components, did you find like a donor truck, or did you just search for different parts as you needed them?
Essentially, I went and found an engine, and down in southern Ohio, and we got that engine, and it had a burnt number 6 piston, so we rebuilt it and everything like that. It's got male ceramic coated pistons, Corilla rods, machine work done by a local machine shop. I actually put it together myself. And then obviously for all the hookups and stuff like that, we use diesel conversion specialists. They're great. You can't beat them. Brandy at the front counter, Ken in the wiring. They actually sponsored the truck a little bit, and everything went great. It's just everything works great. I don't have any problems. They made me a custom adapter to a 4R100 with a one-piece flex plate, all SFI rated and everything like that. Everything held up great. We do a lot of Cummins conversions at Grove Valley Diesel, and that's actually a shop truck of Grove Valley Diesel.
Okay.
We do. We've done a bunch of them in the past, and we use DCS on everything: wiring, adapter plates, motor mounts, everything. I have actually got my transmission controller for my custom-built Samwise 4R100 through DCS. It's a U.S. shift controller. My buddy Jacob Rupp, he tunes it for me, and my two favorite things of the swap is obviously all the Cummins conversion stuff, and then obviously my transmission is just killer. I can't get enough of that Samwise transmission.
One of the questions I've seen pop up for ages is, how long does it take to do a conversion? How many hours would you say you had into, just say, getting it to run with the new engine and the transmission?
If you had a built motor that was just ready to drop in, if you had a known running motor that you could drop in, it honestly isn't that bad because the help the DCS gives you, the wiring harness is literally plug and play. You get a tune on it, the wiring harness is plug and play, and the adapter plate is no different than a spacer plate essentially for any other motor and transmission. You pretty much unbolt the Dodge spacer plate to the 48RE or whatever it is, and you go straight to a 4R100. It literally doesn't get any easier.
No, that sounds pretty straightforward.
The motor mounts are literally straight up, bolt in, everything's great. The only thing you have a little bit of fab work on is downpipe, but they do offer a downpipe. They offer everything. AC lines, everything. They do everything they possibly can to make it as literally as factory as possible.
That is really cool because I think that may be one of the hesitations out there is how hard is it to do is, will my AC work? Will the dash work or different parts of it? So all that is
you can use
like
a Ford power steering pump. You can use a Dodge, whatever they want to do, however you want to do it. There's so many different options.
Nice. I definitely want to get to the transmission, but I wanted you to walk us through the engine itself first. What kind of power, what kind of fueling, air do you got?
Well, it went to UCC, the qualifier. We got 5th at the qualifier. We were real happy with that. We literally didn't finish the truck until the night before UCC. We left, that next morning. The farthest I drove it was from the shop up onto the trailer. So we went there 100% untested, you know what I mean? And with me building the bottom end, it was a little bit scary, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, but no, it's got 275% injectors from industrial. It's got an ATS dual fueler kit with S480 bullseye charger on the backside, and then just a CSF intercooler. Real simple, big single, T6 single, stainless manifold. No really much headwork, springs and push rods, you know what I mean, stuff like that, but it's got a 188 220 cam, Gorilla rods, brand new pistons. It's bored 20 over, ceramic coated pistons, ceramic coated bearings, everything like that. It's pretty much, it's not really anything too terribly special, honestly. It's got a little bit of nitrous on it, but it's not really too terribly anything real special. Just a tried and proven setup that ended up working out for me, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's a very straightforward, simple in a good way.
Yeah.
Set up for performance competition where it's just raring to go. I was going to ask you on the ATS dual fueler kit, did you use 2 stock pumps or did you do modified ones? Or?
Yep, I bought the ATS kit, just the regular kit, and then I ended up getting a Bosch brand new Duramax pump.
Oh, cool.
So it's got a brand new pump on the top and, the ATS wheel and stuff like that, and everything worked great. I was real happy with the install. Everything's perfect. I use their dual fueler controller also. So, it's tuned by Firepunk with the ATS dual fueler controller. I really like it. I mean, it seems to work great.
I know on the tuning side of it, the controller plays a big part, especially, I'm sure the Firepunk guys, know is the way you can control your 2 CP3s. The controller plays a huge part in it, so it's a lot of the tuners out there.
Yeah, I know a lot of guys use those fish controllers and they use the pigtails. I don't have anything against them. I've just had really good luck with what I have.
Right on. I'm a transmission guy, so I want to talk about this 4100.
Yeah, I do too. I love it. Yeah, it's literally, I went to UCC. Sam built me this transmission. He hopped on board with me. I can't thank him enough. I mean, he literally has done everything I could ask him and then 100 times more. He put that transmission together for me, gave me a Precision Industries 2800 stall converter with a billet stator, triple disc, the whole works on that. And, he told me, he says, "Hey, Travis, I did some stuff to this trans and it's gonna do it, and when you gotta remember, I never drove the truck. So the first time it ever shifted out of first gear was up on the dyno. And when it shifted that first time, if you go back and look at my dyno video, you can tell it shifted. I mean, it shifted the whole dyno. It was great. So, when dyno went well, we made 1,259 horsepower and 18-some 100 foot-pounds of torque. And, I got the drag day was the next day, and everybody was talking about, big single, big housing, how's it going to spool? That's why we kind of went with a couple hundred more on the torque converter, on the stall. And, I got back to the pits after that first run, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, you stood on the converter way too long. It's going to be hot as heck," And we crawled underneath of it. We put our hand right on it, and it was literally he modded the pump for extra flow. I mean, it's just great.
It's so interesting how the transmission. It's almost, well, it's not the final part, but it plays such a crucial role in taking
everything.
What you did to the engine. Now, whether it's racing, like say for UCC, or doing drag racing, around the country, different events and stuff, or just driving it as a
towing, whatever. I mean, he's got all his different builds. You know what I mean? Mine is the Stage 4, which is obviously the biggest one. He machines all his parts, everything like that, to accept more clutches and more steels. He doesn't buy a kit. There is no kit with a Samwise transmission. Everybody wants to buy kits, but there is no kit with a Wise transmission. He buys every steel individually, different sizes. He buys every clutch individually. You know what I mean? He machines his own parts in-house to accept what he has. You know what I'm saying? A machine, and it goes even farther other than the clutches, a machining for more clutches. I mean, he machines for roller bearings. I mean, my transmissions is full of roller bearings. You know, and then obviously billet shafts and stuff like that, and I have a bigger output shaft and everything like that, but everything is done in-house there. There is no shipping it out and getting this machines. It's all done compared to what you have, you know?
Right.
I mean,
Right.
he's just as straightforward guy as you can possibly get. He's a great guy. You can't beat him.
Now, on the transmission tuning side, did that take... I mean, as far as getting it to UCC, you didn't have a whole lot of time to kind of play around with it. But as far as afterwards, have you adjusted some of the files? Have you...
Well, the first run off the trailer on the dyno day, we ran a 10.4. You know, and I had a kind of a slow 60-foot. I was still trying to get used to it. Obviously, it's the first time I ever drove it, actually. The quarter mile was the second farthest I've ever drove it. We had an idle slow start. We ran a 10.4. My transmission guy, Jacob Rupp, R&R Diesel, he wanted to change some things. He ended up making some change. We ran a 10.7. Had a little bit of shifting with the controlling problem. And then he said, I got it this time. And we went out there that last time. It was like one of the last runs of the night. Actually, it was real late at night. And we ran a 992. So that's we're really, really happy with that, you know.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the custom tuning side, it's amazing how much time you can save.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that US shift controller is really user-friendly. DCS actually offers some tuning for it. I know there's a lot of other companies that offer, like, tuning for it. But Jacob, he just, you know, he thought what he thought was great, and with Sam's help and everything like that, and ended up getting it done, you know. The other best part I really like about my truck is that suspension I have on it. You know, I have a Flight Fab 4-link on the front, you know, and then Miles, actually, I was the first one to get one, the rear 4-link for the 05 to 07 rear frame. So I actually have a full 2A1 4-link setup on the rear axle on the Sterling 10.5.
Nice. That's exactly what I was going to ask you. Is how's this? Once it gets past your transmission, how's it hook into the pavement?
Yeah, I have Hoosier DR2s. You know, the biggest DR2s they make. I think they're 30.3 inches or something like that on some 18 by 10 fuels. But that suspension, it just sat and went. I mean, it was great. It's great. It's fully adjustable. You know what I mean? The mounts look great. Everything obviously welded perfect to Miles Flight's expectations, which are, you know, top notch. You know, they're great. I mean, it's a great kit. He's going to be offering it. I actually think he's offering it right now for sale to the public. You know, it's a job to put it on, but it's worth it.
And as far as sled pulling,
Yeah.
is that something you've had experience with? You're really into,
None.
or
No experience at all. Yeah, we ended up. My best friend owns a fabrication company, Kyle Lucas, API Fabrication. I brought it. He did my cage and all the other fab work besides the suspension that Miles Flight did. Everything else that was welded to that truck, intercooler piping, absolutely everything was done through him. Chrome ollie cage, all TIG welded, yada yada, all the works. Anything I needed, he did for me. And I went to him one day at the shop, and I told him, I said, Kyle, I think we're gonna put 6 tires in this truck for UCC too. I don't think we're just gonna run 4. I think I want to go get a Dana 80, and I want to run 6. And he said, well, you know, we'll do it, you know. So we made some traction bar mounts on the truck and got some traction bars, and ended up making like a kind of like a truss system, you know, for the Dana 80, and it ended up working out real good. Had a drive shaft made, and he built the truss system, hiked the truck up a little bit. You know, he built the weight box for the front and everything we needed, and I think that alone right there is what put us into the top 5 range. You know, a lot of guys went there with just 4 tires, you know, and didn't really have much for the sled pulling setup. They had a lot for the dyno and the drag. But I tried to go as best as I could in every single event, and I think it paid out in the end, getting that top 5 finish.
it's such a interesting competition with the trucks that are there, the power they make, the setups. It really, I think, you know, from the outside looking in, it really pushes these teams to choose the right setup. Like, you know, I'm sure it starts way before you ever get to UCC, but you know, what kind of turbo are you going to run? You know, what do you do with the transmission? What's your stall speed? What's your suspension?
Yep, it's so crazy. Thank God I have the group of guys to help me that I have, Josh and Jeremy from Grove Valley Diesel, Sam from Wise Auto, you know what I mean? Nate Johnson built my transfer case for me. That was one less thing I didn't have to worry about. Local shop in Toledo built my or Cleveland. They built the drive shaft in Cleveland. Brad Daniel from BD Diesel in Tiffin, Ohio. They built my axles for me. Yukon Gear and Axle for sponsoring the truck with all the equipment for the axles. The spool for the Dana 80, the gear or the ratchet locker for the 10.5, all that stuff. I mean, everybody that's helped. Miles Flight, my best friend Kyle from API Fab. I mean, everybody. I got such a group. I can't thank them enough.
That's one of the things that we've heard a lot from with UCC and some of the other competitions is a support group.
Oh, you can't. Yeah, you can't go there alone. You just can't.
Yeah. I
mean, them guys, they laugh at me, but we ate so good at UCC. Guys don't understand how happy I was to have them all there helping me. My best friend Dylan setting up the suspension for me and stuff like that, as far as the rebound and compression on the QA1 and everything, taking videos, watching them in slow motion, setting me up. I mean, everybody had their own little part. Everybody knew what was going on, and it just ended up working out. I think I was one of the only qualifiers that didn't have a single problem, a single breakdown with my truck. We never turned a wrench on my truck one time other than to change the sled pulling setup on, which I thought was absolutely great. That just shows right there what kind of crew I had with me.
Oh yeah, that's incredible to hear that, because there's anything can go wrong, even things just you don't even think of, or something that should never break.
Yep.
Just does, and throws a wrench in it.
Yeah, I mean, we had a small mishap with the drive shaft loop on the dyno, and I mean, they ran to the pits for me, and we're back, and we ended up still making a hit and still making that horsepower. You know what I mean?
Kind of begs the question next. This truck's really cool. It's dialed in. You got it reliable. What are your plans for it for the future?
Well, unfortunately, not all the trucks showed up to UCC Qualifier, and they decided to only take the top 4. So being 5th, I was the first one that did not make it, which is fine. That's cool, whatever they want to decide. We will be back at Wagler's, and I should have a little bit more in it, and we'll see what it does there. I mean, it gives people a little bit more time. I'm sure there's going to be a couple trucks that weren't even considered in the first qualifier, or even in the one that just went down in Salt Lake City, or that's happening in Salt Lake City, that aren't even considered for the Wagler event. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. All you can do is go there and try, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. That's where it starts, is
yeah.
Even if it's not a UCC truck, and a lot of us got hooked just by having a diesel with a tuner, intake, exhaust, going to test and tune, and you get hooked, and then it turns into, from a 14.8 pass. Yeah, it gets crazy really quick.
I think my... What you're talking about right there, I think I ran a 13.7 at Killcare down south one time, and that was just the snowball effect of, you know what I mean, of where we're at now, and now I'm in the 9s, I guess, with a 6,000-pound truck. It's just crazy, Now,
if you were to do it all over again, is there anything you would change about the process of building the truck?
Honestly, I probably wouldn't have cut it down to a shorty. I probably would have kept it a long bed. That is the only thing, and sometimes I really like the shorty for like drag racing and stuff like that, but I probably wish I would have kept it a long bed. That's probably really the only thing. Obviously the truck started out as a 2-wheel drive, and Jeremy and Josh and I at Grove Valley, we swapped it to a 4-wheel drive. And that was no big deal, and none of that stuff was any real big deal. It was mainly the cutting it down to a shorty. I wish I had just kept it a long bit.
Is there a particular reason or competitive advantage the long bed would have given you?
The sled pulling, you obviously want a little longer wheelbase. Not that I sled pull every day, but it probably would have helped. It probably would have helped more in the sled than it hurt me in the drag. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Because we cut 19 inches out of it. To get it down to the short bed, you know what I mean? And I kind of wish that, and I kind of wish I would have went fiberglass on some stuff. I still have steel bed sides. We cut them. They're cut, they just hang. And I kind of wish I'd have went with a fiberglass bumper, fiberglass bed sides, had a little bit better idea of the wiring as far as like stripping the wiring that I didn't need, because it doesn't have a dash or anything in it. Those are the things I really wish I would have done if I would have had more time.
Gotcha.
So.
Gotcha. Well, it's a winter project then. You can.
Well, yeah. I'm going to go to Wagler's with what it is, obviously, because the truck is custom wrapped. I mean, it's not like I can just go print or roll off a piece of roll of vinyl and rewrap the truck. I mean, it's a custom printed wrap with a whole bunch of detail in it and stuff like that, so it's not, I'm just going to leave the steel sides for this summer and maybe next winter I'll start cutting down on some weight, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. The wrap's really cool. I saw the picture.
Oh, yeah, the wrap's killer. I think that was a hit. I mean, everybody loved that wrap. You can look at that wrap for an hour and still see stuff inside of it that you didn't see before. It's just so detailed. It's great. I love it.
I know the guys listening on iTunes won't be able to see it, but we'll have a picture of the truck on
Instagram, for sure.
Facebook, everything, and it's cool.
Yeah, it's a good. I love it. It's a real good setup. We ran some KO2s on the sled pone setup. We ran 420s on the dyno, and we ran DR2 Hoosiers on the drag. My buddy from Brian from All Xtremes in Madison, Ohio, he hooked me up with the tires and stuff like that, and the rims. I mean, there's so many people. I'm sorry if I forgot anybody, but there's so many people that have helped me along the way. But it doesn't even count the people that came to my shop and helped me actually build it themselves.
Right.
So yeah, it was a good time.
Now, I know there's guys listening right now, and they're like, oh, I want to see more of the truck. I want to see some videos of it. Is there a place on your social media where people can go and look and check out what you're doing? Yeah, actually, my Instagram's public, so you can check that out. It's _real_Travis_Trent. So you can check that out. My stuff's public. You can see it plain as day. There's a bunch of videos, couple videos, couple pictures, So obviously pictures and videos from the whole entire build from the start, from when it was a bare frame with no axles underneath of it, all the way to the UCC, you know what I mean? Those are some of the most awesome builds to follow. And there's a lot of them on Instagram where guys will take the time to show the bare frame, and it's you're it might take a year or two, however long it takes, but
I think it took me 6 months to do this one. That's good. Yeah,
good.
No, it's good. Like I said, I got a group of guys that they don't stop. You know what I mean? They push me, and when they're down, I push them. So, but no, I think it's really weird going back and looking at the pictures and seeing, wow, 6 months ago, this didn't have anything. I didn't even have a common rail 6 months ago. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy what I didn't have to what I have now.
Oh yeah, well that's the teamwork and the vision and
support
structure.
It's great. With my buddy, he owned his own fab business. He had all the time in the world in between jobs to help me. And then I own my own company, Tri Heating Air. I'm actually an HVAC tech, so I put as much time into this as I could, while still working. So it's great.
Those are the builds that our listeners, they love. They want feedback. They want to see those things because we're all truck guys. Yeah. And when you're a truck guy, you tend to, your friends are truck guys, and you talk about trucks.
What a lot of guys like about it is that I don't own a diesel shop.
Yeah.
I have help from a lot of them, mainly Grove Valley Diesel and Sam Wise and everything like that, big guys like that. But it was built in my shop that I have at my house. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a diesel shop. We don't really work on too many diesels. We might do a little bit of stuff here and there. But he's mainly just a fabrication company, and I'm mainly just a heating and air company. And we decided we wanted to do this, and that's what we came up with. So I'm just a regular guy with just regular tools and, little tiny snap-on box, and just decided to wanted to do it. And luckily, I did get the help I had, and it just all worked out that way.
It's attainable too, we can all.
Yeah. It's not like it's some goal way out in space to do. I mean, if you really set your mind to it and you really have the heart for it and stuff like that and want to put the effort into it, you're going to hit bumps in the road. I mean, I've hit so many bumps in the road across these years that I've had these diesel trucks and tried to get to this point. It's not even funny. And finally, we made it happen. You just you can't give up. You just got to keep going. And it's hard on your friends' relationships. You want to go out and party and stuff like that. You got to stay in the shop and get it done.
Yeah. Then you get to sit back and look at this 9-second diesel truck you got that didn't break any parts, and you got to have fun with, and you get to do it again.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time. Wagler's is going to be a good time, I think. We're going to do stuff a little differently. We're going to try to stay away from the camping and stuff like that. We're going to get hotel rooms and try to more focus on the truck.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that's a awesome event. We hear a lot about it and see it, on social media and everything. I know you do well.
yeah, I hope it does good. You know, I'm only as good a driver as I'm a good a driver, and the truck's pretty much got to do it all. You know.
Oh, for sure. And I really appreciate hearing about your build and how you did it. There's a lot of the Fummins conversion and the insights you had into how seamless it was to do it, and then also setting up the rest of the truck is really important.
Oh
for
yeah.
People to hear and just take into consideration when they're doing their build is use the right components, have a vision for it, get your friends around.
Yeah, you get a company like DCS behind you, there you can't lose. You know what I mean? They have absolutely everything. Their customer service is great. I've never called and had any troubles. The wiring guy will talk to you personally and walk you through, you know what I mean, what you have to do if you have any problems. It's just great. You can't beat them guys over there. That's a great company.
Well, Travis, we appreciate you sharing your story, and we're gonna be watching Wagglers, see how you do. Make sure you keep us updated. Let us know.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Don't forget, Diesel fans, make sure and bookmark dieselworldmag.com. Diesel World is on top of everything in the diesel community, industry, parts, basically everything. Make sure you go on there, check out tons of cool features, videos, everything. And also go to PPEI.com if you're looking to upgrade your truck. Bring all these hard parts that we talk about. Bring them all together with solid tuning, whether it's a tow truck or UCC truck or anything in between. Till next time, keep the shiny side up.